65. Scattered showers are possible on Thursday. It'll be humid. Temperatures Thursday right around 80 degrees. I'm meteorologist Rob Carolyn.
And we have on our live line in this segment of the Newsmaker show, Canisteo Greenwood School Superintendent Tom Crook. Superintendent Tom Crook, thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me on.
Want to talk about the budget. There's so much going on, and so much is, I guess I would say, unusual this year because of the pandemic situation. What do we know at this point, Canisteo Greenwood School Superintendent Tom Crook?
Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head when you said it's very unorthodox this year with the school budget. Normally we would be having our public presentations, having people come in to the board meeting, talk about the budget, but with us not being able to have large gatherings, and also the biggest kicker is no in-person voting, so everything is absentee ballot. So all the districts in New York State had to, a couple weeks ago after the announcement, start planning to print ballots, mail them out. I believe most of the Canisteo Greenwood community residents received their ballots just a few days ago, and I wanted to just get on here and talk about what they're seeing on the ballot, why they're seeing it, and so that way they can make an informed decision, vote, and mail those ballots back in before the June 9th deadline.
Now, from what I understand, it's a 0% tax increase this year for Canisteo Greenwood, and then you have several propositions. Can you tell us about all that?
Yeah, certainly. In New York State law, where you hear of the tax cap this year, Canisteo Greenwood's calculation, I believe, was 2.97, which is the max that we could have asked for. But talking with the Board of Education, talking with Paul Cohn, my business manager, we just felt in these kind of unprecedented times of, with the COVID closure and really not sure what's going to be happening with the beginning of next school year and such, that we decided to go out with a 0% tax increase for the 2021 school year. So what the voters will see, they'll see 3 propositions and then our board elections. The first proposition will be for the budget. Next year's budget, we're looking at a $24,913,225 budget. That is a slight increase of 2.38% from last year, but to be quite transparent, most of that increase is through contractual obligations and health insurance. Health insurance really got us this year with a 9% increase. So really what we're seeing in our increase of budget are just really contractual obligations. But through some very good stewardship of the funds that the community members have given to us over the years, we're able to come out with a 0% tax increase to really help ease their mind of not having to worry about increased taxes for next school year. 0% is not sustainable for many, many years, but we definitely think we're in a good spot this year to be able to do that. Proposition 2 on the ballot will be for the public library, the Wimmedausian Library and the Greenwood Library. This is something that the voters have seen the past few years, and it's just to reiterate, it's not school related. So if there is a slight increase in tax for the public library that is not school related, but it's to support those public libraries, the Wimmedausian Library and the Greenwood Library. And there is a slight tax increase of $7,500 that the voters will see on Proposition 2. And Proposition 3, last year we started a bus replacement schedule. We have some older buses in the fleet that we would like to start replacing and get some newer vehicles to transport our students around. So we have in Proposition 3 a $450,000 capital bus reserve that we've we're able to sustain and use, and that $450,000 use from the bus reserve does nothing with the budget or the taxes. So that's good news for that. And then the last thing that the voters will see on the ballot, there are 2 board seats up for election, and the incumbents, Mike Nesbitt and Mike Lehman, are going to be running again. So that's what they'll see on the ballots.
Okay, that's very informative. Talking with Canisteo Greenwood School Superintendent Tom Crook, reviewing what you just said there. We've got a 0% tax increase, library proposition for the Wymedosian Library and the Greenwood Library. Prop 3 is bus reserve funds, and then you've got the 2 board seats. Question: what happens if the budget is not passed the first time?
Yeah, this is the question of of the decade. Since Governor Cuomo announced that the school budgets and elections will be done by absentee ballot, and we received the date of June 9th, and we started working around that June 9th date, wondering what the second vote date would be. As in any budget year, you have that second vote just in case a budget doesn't pass. You can go back out, do some, lower the taxes or whatever the taxpayers are asking for, and you can go back out and vote again, typically about 2 to 3 weeks later. And with the budget vote being pushed from, it was originally slated for May 19th, now to June 9th, they kept the second vote date as June 16th, which is only 7 days after the first vote. And if it's done through absentee ballot, there is 0 time for a district to be able to print ballots, get them back out to the community, do a public presentation, have them vote on the ballot, mail it back in. 7 days is not enough time that we've been given. So what I've been hearing throughout the state and throughout the GST BOCES region is that if a budget does not pass on June 9th, then the district will be forced to go into a contingency budget for the following school year, which no one wants, because what that does is that freezes all of your extracurricular activities, that freezes individualized companies or clubs like youth wrestling and baseball and things like that to be able to use your facilities. So it's that's one of the reasons too that we went out with a 0% tax increase, because we wanted to not only help the community but to ensure a hopeful passing of a budget.
Okay, so reviewing there, Canisteo Greenwood School Superintendent Tom Crook, June 9th is the first vote day. Possible, maybe a second vote day on June the 16th. And this is not to be confused with the June 23rd presidential primary voting day. Am I correct?
That is correct. Yeah, there's a lot of voting going on in June. And as stated before, the June 16th second, really, the date is on the calendar for a second voting day, but really it shouldn't be there at all, because there's no way that districts can do what they've been doing with mailing out the absentee ballots or the money that's spent on it. I'm not going to mention the district, but in one of the GST school districts, they've spent approximately $100,000 to do this vote by mailing out the absentee ballots. So there's been a lot of financial strain placed on districts that weren't prepared to do an absentee ballot and having to spend extra money on to do that.
Tom, do you have a number of voters that have to come out the first time for this to pass the first time? Is there a certain amount of voters needed?
No, as in any voting year, it's the voters that come out and you tally the yays and nays, right? And if the only time that you would need a specific number is if you're trying to go over your tax cap, which Canisteo Greenwood is not doing, and most likely will not do in a while. If you do try to go above your tax cap, you have to have a 60% majority vote. But in just a regular vote, if you're under your tax cap, I hate to say it this way, but you could have 10 people come out, right? But with the absentee ballots, we're hoping that individuals will take the time to mark the ballot. It'll be self-addressed stamped envelope back to the district, so it's not going to cost the taxpayers anything to mail it back. But we are encouraging, based on the way the current Postal Service works in Canisteo and the surrounding areas, is that the mail, I believe, goes to Rochester. So a Canisteo to Canisteo mailing could take anywhere between 3 to 5 days to hit the mailbox. So we are asking that the voters be very cognizant of the time if they're going to be voting to fill out the ballot. I would say mail it out no later than June 2nd, next Tuesday, after you hear the buzzer, either today's radio program or the budget presentation Wednesday night at 6 p.m. through Zoom. That information is posted on the website and will be shared out. And again, if you want to guarantee that your vote is going to be counted, I would make sure you mail it out, I would say a week ahead of time, just to make sure it's here by 5 p.m. on June 9th, because anything after 5 p.m. on June 9th cannot be accepted.
We're speaking with Canisteo Greenwood School Superintendent Tom Crook. Tom, before we go to the break, are there any other budget issues that we should be bringing up?
No, I think we're hitting what we need to. The propositions, the 0% tax increase, the library tax, and the bus proposition, and it's more really the main highlights of this year is just the absentee ballot, making sure that it's in on time before June 9th, 5 p.m., and also the public budget presentation that has to be done through Zoom tomorrow night at 6 p.m. I think those are the two main things that we need, or the main things that we need to hit.
Okay, we're going to take a quick 30-second break. We'll be back with Tom Crook, the Canisteo Greenwood School Superintendent. We'll talk other issues in the school district. Stay with us.
The Ryan Agencies, your local, independent insurance agencies. Online insurance companies don't know the unique needs of our rural community. The Ryan Agency meets rural needs every day. Local insurance experts offering realistic solutions. Contact the Ryan Agencies today. Good local people offering realistic insurance solutions.
Insurance protection you can rely on. The Ryan Agency.
Back with Canisteo Greenwood School Superintendent Tom Crook. Tom, how many days left in this school year, 2020, which, as we said right in the beginning, has been an incredibly unusual school year because of the pandemic?
Sure. Yeah, it's we doing the calculations. We've been waiting a little bit from the state education department to see what was going to happen. There were 2 days in March, if you remember. The announcement was made on Saturday, March 14th, that Steuben County was going to be closing through spring break. They were going to give us the Monday and Tuesday of the following week, the 16th and 17th, to get teachers in to prepare, get students in on the 17th, and then that was going to be, the closure was going to start on Wednesday, the 18th. But there were so many cases that were beginning to pop up that weekend and that Monday that we decided to not have students come on the 17th. So we're waiting for state ed to come back and give us some guidance on those dates. Governor Cuomo came in a week later, that closed schools through spring break and also forced schools to work through spring break. So the spring break was taken away, as well as snow days. So to make a long story short, the last day of the school year for this year is June 15th. That'll be the teachers and students' last day is Monday, June 15th, because we had to because of working through spring break and working through those snow days, and also this past Friday was another scheduled day to have off. So what's going to happen is that June 5th will be the last day that the students are given any kind of graded work. The week of the 8th, they will have the opportunity to hand in that work, and teachers will be able to grade it and put it on the report card. And then June 15th, we're wrapping up the school year.
What are graduation plans like at this point, Tom?
Yeah, right now we're looking at a couple options, and most districts are doing this. Our plan right now, really depending on how the rephasing is going in New York State, but our goal right now, as it was from the beginning, is to have some kind of in-person socially distanced graduation. Principal Pete Reynolds and I and the administrative team and the guidance counseling team have been really looking at the facilities that we have. How can we socially distance 82 graduating seniors, which really would be kind of easy on the football field. We can easily distance them, and then having their parents only at the graduation. It's unfortunate that we would have to do that, but really if we want to have that in-person socially distanced graduation, we have to limit the amount of people that are be able to come up and view the graduation. So that's the plan right now, is to have our graduates on the football field. Each one of the graduates has 2 tickets for their parents. If the parents are no longer together, we would allow that student up to 4 to have both sets of parents there. And we would mark out areas throughout the track, throughout the stands, really as much use as we possibly could up there to socially distance. And it would be live streamed, so you can have family members watch. And if that, for some reason, is not approved by, and this is another thing that's happening now, is we are in the southern tier region of the New York rephasing, reopening plan, and that includes 8 counties all the way from Steuben County all the way over to Broome County. So there's been a lot of discussion about who is going to approve graduation plans. Is it going to be a local decision like Jack Wheeler over in Steuben County, right? Or is it going to be this large conglomerate of 8 counties to try to figure out someone over in Broome County that doesn't know where Canisteo Greenwood is going to be making the decision on what we can and can't do for graduation. We're hoping that it's a local decision. And we'll be in contact actually with Jack Wheeler this afternoon. They were going to monitor the Memorial Day weekend to see how everything went and then start having those conversations. If we cannot have an in-person graduation, then we will have a kind of like a drive-through graduation, where the same as we do for homecoming, allowing people to drive on the track, we would then have the 82 graduates come up in any vehicle of their choice. We've already talked to you, Brian, and WLEA to be able to broadcast the graduation through WLEA so everyone could hear what's going on and when they're being called up. And they would drive up onto the track, pull up to the front. Their family members would get out of the vehicle, grab the diploma, take their pictures, get in the vehicle, and drive off into the sunset. That's our secondary plan if the first one does not go through.
Yes, and we're glad to be a part of that plan if you need us to be. We're talking with Canisteo Greenwood School Superintendent Tom Crook. So on your Facebook page it said, Tom, the summer school situation won't be happening, but the food program continues this summer for Canisteo Greenwood.
Yes. Last week, Governor Cuomo made the announcement that there would be no summer school. It would be all virtual. Typically in Canisteo Greenwood, we have our summer reading program, which draws in many students. We have our summer rec program that the village puts on. We contacted them several months ago based on construction, and also the summer reading program and our extended school year program. We didn't have the room for summer rec, unfortunately, with all the construction that we have going on. But unfortunately, last week, Governor Cuomo announced no in-person summer school. So we canceled the summer reading program, And the extended school year, which is a little bit different, these are for the students that have on their IEPs extended school year where we have to service them throughout the entire calendar year. Tricia Dodge, our Director of Special Education, is now working on how that is going to look virtually throughout the summer. But unfortunately, we will not have any in-person summer school. And as far as the summer food program, that's going to follow the same regulations that it has every summer, where we'll have a pickup spot in the district. It's going to be at the high school this year because of the work that's being done in the elementary kitchen. They will not have a kitchen at all this summer, so anyone that's going to be picking up food for the summer food program will be coming to the high school.
Wanted to ask you another thing I saw on your Facebook page, the Student Belongings Retrieval Plan.
Yes. Yep, so that's through the hard work of our principals, Colleen Brownell and Pete Reynolds. When we have students to come in, I believe it was the week of March 16th, there were 3 days in there where we were allowing them to come in, gather materials that the teachers had put together, and also to pick up personal belongings. There were approximately 83 students in the high school that had something in their locker, so we bagged that up and put their name on it. And then the elementary school, right, March 13th was the last day that they were in the building, so it was just kind of as if time stood still. And so the teachers emptied out desks, emptied out cubbies, bagged everything, and put them in the elementary cafeteria. So we've scheduled times for different grade levels, again, trying to not have that, what Governor Cuomo calls an attractive nuisance, where everyone's coming to one location at the same time. So we have a schedule that can be followed where certain grade levels will come to the elementary school and pick up their belongings and hand anything in that they need to. June 10th, our seniors are going to be rolling into the elementary school to pick up their cap and gown. We'll have a photo booth there where they can take some pictures of them doing that. But yes, just follow the schedule and everything will work out as far as getting the students their belongings back that were left here.
Canisteo Greenwood School Superintendent Tom Crook, I want to thank you so much for coming on today.
Hey, don't thank me. I'm thanking you. This is a great opportunity for me to speak to the communities that I can't do in person. So I really appreciate you having me on.
Yes, there's just so many changes this year from this COVID-19. It's been, I guess I'd say, the most unusual year in pretty much everybody's lifetime, unless you were around in World War I and the Spanish flu period. Tom Crook, Canisteo Greenwood School Superintendent, thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much.
It's AM 1480 WLEA Hornell. Dr. Gary Ostrar coming right up.